Coach, welcome.
You get him on mute.
Can you hear me okay, Coach?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate the time, Coach. If you would just give us a quick opening statement on how bowl preparations have gone so far, and then we'll go right into questions.
All right. Our guys have been good spirits, getting after it. Proud of the way they worked. Proud of the way all of them came back, locked in and ready to go from some travel break they had, and got all of them back. They did a great job getting back, and they've been awesome. So we're getting ready now to head over to Atlanta.
All right. Thanks, Coach. All right. We'll go ahead and go right into questions for Coach Smart. Please raise your hand, get in the queue, and we'll start off with Jordan Hill. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, Kirby, just want to ask at this point in the week what the availability looks like for Ladd and Warren.
Yeah, we're excited to get those guys hopefully back, and we'll see how they do this week.
All right. Next, we'll go to Connor Riley.
Yeah, Kirby, sorry, not exactly about Peach Bowl, but you signed 2 transfers last week. What did you see in them that you thought they'd be a good fit for your program?
We knew both those kids coming out of high school. I think a lot of them, they performed at a high level in our conference, and I think they'll challenge and compete with the rest of our roster at being competitive wideouts, which is important in this conference.
All right. Next question to Brooks Austin.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious. When you turn on the tape of Ohio State most of the year, they seem to be a 3-high football team. You turn them on against Michigan, they're loading the box, committed to stopping the run. I guess which defense are you expecting to get, and how do you prepare for both?
Well, I expect to get a little bit of all of them. Some of that will be probably determined by what personnel we're in and how we use our guys. We've got 3-4 really good tight ends, and we hope to be able to use those guys in this game. And a lot of that's going to boil down to how we play and what we do and try to dictate to them. They've got a really good defensive football team. They're very physical, done a great job dating back to the Oklahoma State days, and very good, aggressive, multiple package on defense, where they give you multiple looks and things.
All right. Next, we'll go to Joey Kaufman.
Kirby, CJ Stroud mentioned that Georgia was his second choice school coming out of high school. Just wondering what you remember the most about recruiting him and scouting him as a quarterback prospect coming out of California.
Yeah, I loved his mom, man. What a tremendous woman. She's awesome. Went all the way across the country and got to sit in his home and visit with him. And, he has a really good disposition about him. He's not real high, not real low, not real emotional. He keeps a really level head, which to me at quarterback is one of the number one qualities you can find. And he came on a visit to our place as well and got to see him at the Heisman, and he's just matured. And to see him grow, he's always had tremendous arm strength and touch and velocity on throws. But he's become a complete quarterback there in their system.
All right. Next question from Zach Klein.
Hey, Kirby, I know you try to keep everything the same in terms of practice, routine, schedule, but do you look at these extracurricular things, the MLK visit, for example, as an important or a necessity part of a bowl week or more of a distraction?
Well, I think it's part of the bowl process, and this the merger is unique between CFP, the playoff games, and the bowl games, because the bowl games have their traditions, have their beliefs, have their sponsors, and those traditions are very important to the bowls. I mean, any of the playoff games that you can play in, even when they're rotating, they have bowl traditions. I went to those bowl games as a coach or a player a long time ago, and they started those traditions. So their traditions are important to them. The playoff and the meaning of the game is important to them too, but you have to balance the two. You got to make sure your players understand this is my off time, and they have activities that are scheduled, but we also are here for a purpose, and it's a business trip. It's not just a joy trip, and the balance of those two is important. So I look forward to the activities. We had them last year at the Orange Bowl. It's important to get your mind off of the game at times, and those activities allow you to do that.
All right. Next, we'll go to Bill Rabinowitz.
Kirby, you obviously have more than just one good tight end. You have 2, multiple ones. What kind of pressure does that put on a defense, and how special are yours?
I think it's just different. So much of college football now is 11 personnel. So when you play 12, it's always different from a defensive perspective because what sets they can make. They can be a little more multiple, but you probably lose some speed when you do that. And that's probably what makes ours different is we don't sacrifice a lot of speed from 11 to 12 like some teams might. And to stretch the field vertically and horizontally, you need speed. So 12 has been a good personnel for us this year. We're excited about 13. We got some guys that have been out through this bowl process. It's given us a chance to work those guys. So it's a good opportunity to get your best football players on the field, and I think you have to do that.
All right, we'll go next to Chip Towers.
Yeah, Coach, we may have addressed this with you, but if you don't mind, Chris Smith, it just seems like the example. He's from right there at Hapeville Charter, not too far from where you guys are. And he seems to have, having come back as a fifth-year senior, played himself into an All-American and a legitimate NFL draft choice. What can you say about the progress that he's made and the path that he's taken?
Yeah, really proud of Chris and his growth. He came in as a really astute, tough, competitive, fiery, just competitor. And he's grown into this incredible leader. I think through his passion and his competitiveness. He hates losing at anything. He dislikes underperforming. And he's one of those guys, when you give stats in practice, he calls you out if he thinks they're wrong. So he's really prideful about things. But he's a product of our development, and he came in and has really blossomed into a really good safety prospect at the next level. And just proud of the work he's done. I mean, he's a great example of, if you stick around and grow in this system, you can be really good. And a lot of his buddies and friends left and moved on, and he stuck around, and it's proven to be worth it, just like Devontae and Jordan did.
All right, next we'll go to Mark Weiser.
Kirby, what's been the key to maintaining the level of success on defense with new coordinators and a new cast of guys for the most part in terms of frontline guys?
It's just culture. I mean, that's not going to change. What we do is not going to change. So it doesn't matter if one coach leaves or another coach leaves. That doesn't impact our defense. We rep a lot of players at practice. We have a system set up to get our 2s and 3s ready. So, the next cast of defensive players is getting ready right now, just like they were last year. So I think if you've got a good formula for getting guys ready, it prevents large gaps in seasons.
All right, time for just a few more. Next, we'll go to Nathan Baird. Go ahead, Nathan.
Kirby, it seems like this multiple running back thing has become kind of a staple of Georgia's offense. Is that something that philosophically that you felt especially committed to? And if so, why is that?
Well, it's really about health and necessity. Throughout our conference, we've done studies, and very few backs have made it through the entire year with a large burden. They tend to get injured. You look across the NFL right now, the number of injuries at running backs, it's rampant through a 17, 18 game season. And then, we're playing off of 12, 13, sometimes 14, 15 game season, not to mention the preseason camp stuff. So we try to build it where 3 to 4 backs can contribute and play. And some of that's dictated by, whether we have leads in the fourth quarter or whether guys are injured. But we don't want to get into this part of the season and not have depth. And that's what the rotation provides us.
All right, next we'll go to Anthony Dasher. Anthony, I think you're on mute.
I sure am. Coach, what's the advantage of playing in the same venue for 3 times this year?
I couldn't understand you there saying what?
No, what's the advantage of playing in the same venue like Mercedes-Benz for the 3rd time this year?
Probably that where the scoreboard, the clocks, and all the different stuff is the biggest thing. The field's the same. There's not a lot of difference in terms of the diameter and the width of the field. But I think it's more about familiarity of the quarterback knowing the shot clock and the ribbons and the different things. The biggest difference is, both teams will get to practice in there, so they'll be familiar with it by the time the game starts.
All right, we'll take our final question from Jake Rowe. Go ahead, Jake.
Kirby, wanted to ask you, last year, it's not often you get into the college football playoff coming off a loss. You guys did it last year. Ohio State's doing it this year. Can you look back and think about anything that you guys got from kind of maybe that bitter taste you had in your head in the mouth and all that time off coming off a loss and focus, energy, whatever?
Yeah, it recentered things. I think you recalibrate and you look back, and sometimes the reality of your weaknesses pop up a lot more in a loss. We like to say, why do you got to lose to learn? You shouldn't have to do that, but it certainly is a wake up call. And teams I've been with that it recentered everybody and refocused everybody. But obviously we've tried to do that without that. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It's just one of those things.
All right. That's all we've got for you, Coach. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.